Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, let's say thanks to Allah who has been giving us guidance, happiness, health, and mercy so we can attend parts when it is even without any obstacles. Secondly, may salawat and salam always be delivered to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has been guided us from the darkness to lightness. Well, we are from Group 1. Today, we will discuss about the types and categories of translation. So, check it out. First, let me tell you what is the translation itself. So, translation is the process of change the words into a different language. There is the replacement of textual material in one language. We call it as source language or original language by equivalent or similar textual material in other language or target language. Target language is the result of the translation. Well, the main point here is in the word equivalent or similar. So in translation, we find a target language equivalent for source language utterance. There are some types and categories in translation, and we will discuss about it. Here we will discuss some types and categories of translation. For the types of translation, we will discuss according to the Jacobson and Catford. And for the categories of translation, we will discuss according to the Savory. The first, Jacobson divide the types of translation become three types. The first is intralingual translation, and then interlingual translation, and the last is intersemiotic translation. Intralingual translation. Intralingual translation is a translation within the same language. We can also call it as monolingual translation, or as we know that mono is one or same. So in this translation, the translator using one language or same languages between their source language and target language. It can happen when someone paraphrasing an article based on their interpretation. Because in this translation, it can involve rewording or paraphrasing. Interlingual translation. Interlingual translation is a translation from one language to another. So it is the real translation, or what we always or usually do in our translation process. So we change the source language to target language, which is the target language is contained of the different language from the source language. Okay, for example, when we translate a text or interpret a speech and so on. Intersemiotic translation. Intersemiotic translation is a translation of the verbal scene by a non-verbal scene. So it is interpreting a system or scene or form of something into another scene. Let's check for the example. Intersemitic translation process can happen when someone interprets a novel into a film. Between novel and film, they are very different. So the interpreter wants to put or deliver or show what is the novel into a film. The next types of translation, it is based on Catford. So Catford divided the types of translation becomes three types. The first is full and partial translation, and the total and restricted translation, and the last is ring translation. Let's check for the full translation versus partial translation. Full translation. Okay, look at the word full. Full is complete, whole, so it is containing a lot of the detail. Because full is all of the detail, complete, so in full translation, every word in source language must be translated. Or every parts of the source language must be translated, so no word left. For example, when we translate the sentence, saya minum air, I minum drink air water. So saya minum air is I drink water. In this sentence, there is no word left, and the translator translate every part of the source language. Next, there is partial translation. Look at the word partial. Partial is the opposite of the word full, of course. So partial is not full or not complete. In partial translation, not every parts of the source language are translated. So some part of the source language are left or untranslated. There are three kinds of words which the translator cannot to change that word into the target language, into another language. They are the first, untranslatable word. Untranslatable word is the word which didn't have the exact synonym or no exact match word for some word. It called as is the untranslatable word. For example, in Indonesia there is the word jayus. Jayus is when someone making a joke and it doesn't sound funny. It is jayus. And jayus, the word jayus, there is no word jayus in the English language, for example. So we translate it as jayus. So dia sangat jayus is he is very jayus. Next, local color. Local color, bahasa lokal. So local color, we cannot translate local color in another language, such as pesinden, gamelan, wayang, and etc. But we have to be careful because sometimes there is a word, it looks like a local color, but actually that is the exact match word for that word in another language, such as the word dukun or jampi-jampi. Dukun, jampi-jampi, it sound or it look like a local color, but actually that is the translation of it, that is the synonym of it in the other language, such as in English language. Dukun is a shaman. Shaman in particular religions. Shaman is a person who is thought to have special powers to control or influence good and evil spirits, making it possible for them to discover the cause of illness, bad luck, and etc. So if you search the meaning of shaman in the Cambridge dictionary or Oxford dictionary, you will find it. So just be careful, or give your detail attention, give your more attention for each language in source language. The last is common or frequently used language, such as the word AIDS. All of the people in the world know what is the meaning of AIDS. So when we translate AIDS, yeah, it still becomes AIDS. We don't need to change this word.
And the last types of translations according to Catford is the Ring's translations. And the definitions of Ring's translation according to Catford is to translate by word to word, group to group, sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph. So it can be concluded that Ring translations is in the form of level translations, which, for example, can be started with a word and then group by group, or comes to a comma and then the sentence can be increased again from paragraph to paragraph and finally discourse to discourse. For example, in this paragraph, it starts with the word three, it means tiga, and next the words of months, it means bulan. Then after we translate word to word, we can translate it to the groups to groups, like 3 months, it means 3 bulan, coronavirus, it means virus corona. Then after we translate in the group to group, we can translate it in the sentence to sentence, and then paragraph to paragraph, and finally discourse to discourse. That's why the types of these translations is called the Ring's translations. And next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rahmat Hidayat. I'm from Age class. In here, I would like to explain to you about total translation versus restricted translation. Total translation is translation in which all levels of the source language text are replaced by target language material. Strictly speaking, total translation is misleading language material. It's a misleading term since total replacement is involved. It is not replacement by equivalent at all levels. In total translation, source language grammar indexes are replacement by equivalent target language grammar indexes. This replacement entails the replacement of source language phonology or graphology by target language phonology or graphology. For example, you can see in this PowerPoint, the child has slept for 3 hours. Anak itu telah tidur selama 3 jam. But you can consider between the example in replacement lexis and restricted translation. You can see, but in this PowerPoint is not show up the example, one example about replacement lexis over there, but I'm still memorizing. The word is like that. Anak itu telah tidur selama 3 jam. But the translation in restricted translation is word by word. Like anak itu, child dead, telah tidur, already sleep selama 3 jam, for 3 hours. I think it's really different between total translation and restricted translation. Okay, thank you. The next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Afifah. I'm from first group, and here I would like to explain about categories of translation according to Safari. There are 4 categories, and I will explain 3 categories. Number 1, perfect translation. This translation includes all informative statements that are encountered on the street or other public places. It is like announcement or attention. Can see, for the example, no smoking, dilarang merokok, and beware of pickpocket, awas copet. The important thing from this translation is diversion of message from source language into target language and the response from the readers of target language same with the readers of source language. Number 2, adequate translation. The purpose of this translation is to give an entertainment for the readers. Here, the translator used their own language to translate the text, and the readers just want to get the information regardless the real scripts or text. They are only want to get the story. Can see from the example cerita detektif oleh Agatha Christie, and then I think there are some English pop novels that translated into Indonesian. And number 3 is composite translation. This translation includes literary translation. It is like poetry that can translate into poetry or prose. Also, other ways a prose can translate into prose or poetry. The results gave satisfaction for the translator. For example, the old man and the sea become laki-laki tua dan laut by Supardi Djoko Damono. The purpose of this translation is to make all aspects of such language text can switch into target language text. All aspects here includes message and the message and the meaning. Okay, that's all my explanation about categories of translation, and the next categories will be explained by my friend.
My name is Dewi Sofian Tuzza'roq. I will explain about categories of translation. Number 4. Scientific translation. Translate the scientific text. So in this case, considerable expertise and understanding of the course language and target language are needed. For example, journal. Scientific translation is the translation of scientific text. Thus, a special knowledge will be required. This text required a deep knowledge of both the source and target language, as well as a proper understanding of the subject. Scientific translators are often trained linguists that specialize in fields such as medicine, biology, or chemistry. Sometimes there are scientists that have developed a high degree of linguistic knowledge, which they apply to the translation of text in their field of expertise. Collaboration between language and subject specialists is really common in this case. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.